Welcome to the Blade Banter channel. We're going to be talking about specs, opinions, and discussions. First off, we're going to be talking about this knife, which I had a review on previously, which is the CRKT Minimalist. I did say I was going to remove the paracord from it, and really, if you're going to do it, you can probably just tug on this hard enough and it's going to come out, because CRKT does not want you to remove the scales from this knife. These screws were glued in there. I damaged 2 of my T6 bits, although it was an inexpensive set from Lowe's, which does have a lifetime warranty, so I might have to make use of that. But it does have 2 different finishes on it when you take the scales off, which is why I'm going to be putting them back on. So you have a blade bead blasted finish up front, and then you do have this stone wash finish that was underneath the scales. So it does look a little funny to me, and that's why I'm going to be changing it back out. So it just still does work with the sheath, but it does move around a little bit while you're doing that. So we're going to move on to the other knife for the channel. So this is going to be a review of the Boker Plus. This is the Boker Plus Griploc. So this is actually something that another channel was looking forward to. So Patty's Potato Peelers said he was looking forward to a review on this knife. So this one is the Boker Plus Griploc. So on this knife, this is going to be one that has a very different mechanism to it. So this one actually has, again, the grip lock. So when you grab onto the knife, there's no play on this blade. So up or down, left or right, there's no play to it. And then it just, for this one, which is the acrylic scales, you can see all the mechanisms inside of the knife and what makes it to be very unique. So this will work in some areas where you might have legally unable to have some of the other knives that some other parts of the world can have. But this one is a very nice knife. So this is designed by G&G Hawk. That's Grant and Gavin Hawk. So it's a father and son custom knife making team. So this retails for a whopping $123.95. I personally would never pay that much money for this knife. So I paid about $45 for this. It was on special through BladeHQ. There are different blade and mechanism finishes. So I got the black on black. You can get the bead blasted, and you can also just get the other black one with the different scale. So it does have aluminum scales for an option. This one is AUS 8 with a Rockwell hardness of 57 to 58. It does have 3 ounces for the knife itself. And I feel that clear is the way to go for this. The only thing about the clear, I'm afraid to carry this knife. So I'm almost thinking about getting a cell phone screen protector and putting it onto the sides of these knives just to make sure I don't scratch it up, because then I'm not going to be able to see the mechanism that I find so interesting. So one thing that we're going to look at is a comparison on this one. So this is the G&G Hawk. It's going to be the Griploc in comparison to Canadian Leak, which is very popular. And one of my favorites is going to be the CRKT Tie Tac 2. So that's my fidget knife. This one I bought because it was popular. I still carry it every now and then, but with that pocket clip, I don't really do it too often. So one of the things I found to be a comparison or something to help you guys out on your end is to figure out how big the knife is. So one thing I'm going to bring in, and let me know what you think about it, is a measurement so you can compare it to what you're going to carry. So this is something I found that would be a measurement tool to be able to figure out what size glove you wear. But also I found it to be something interesting that might work for everybody else, is to figure out, well, how is this going to sit in your hand? So this is provided by X Pro Tech. It's a printable version, so I'll provide the link below. But as you can see, you can just match it up to where it's going to sit in your hand. And you can see as far as the different sizes, as far as where this blade is going to fall within your hand. This for adult men. Sorry about that, I bumped the tripod there. And then for an adult woman's hand, where that's going to sit roughly. So that way you can print it out at home, see what works for you, and then that way when you get it in hand, you won't be surprised by it being either too small or too large for your hand. So carry method for this is going to be only one direction. This is a tip up right hand carry. And as you see this mechanism, how that operates there. So value for it is excellent at 45. Fit and finish is very good. This is the first knife that actually had an actual cutout for the knife that fits this specific knife only. Most of them were a little bit more general in the way that it fit, but that's how the knife comes. So that's a nice thing for it. And then so probably the difference as far as the material is kind of a nitpick, but for the knife itself, there's two different finishes, so probably due to the material type, but the blade itself is a shiny black, and then the rest of the material, which is aluminum, is a matte black. So I prefer a matte and a matte instead of a matte and glossy. So that's a nitpick for that. But also there's a little bit of a spring sound when you're opening and closing this blade, because there's a spring that runs right in this area here. But you don't really tell when you're actually flipping it open and closed. So a worth experience and the feel of the action, but I wouldn't carry this knife. So just because, again, I'll be worried about scratching up these scales. So I will probably look at a protection for that, as far as like a cell phone screen protector. But as far as this one, would I buy, borrow, or avoid? I would buy it for 40, and I would borrow it for the experience otherwise. So if you know somebody with this one, and you'd like to experience the action, I would recommend it. If it's $40, I'd recommend buying it, but definitely would not buy this for $123.95. All right, thanks for your time, and let me know what you think.